If I were President Trump, I'd go on a pardon tear. This is the mantra: pardons, prosecutions, and transparency. He should pardon everyone caught up in the Mueller investigation. I know the left is trying to scare him from pardoning his family and pardoning himself and giving preemptive pardons. Of course, he has the power to do that, and they don't want him to do that because they want to prosecute his family. They want to prosecute President Trump at the federal level. We've had other developments since we last talked. I want to talk about first General Flynn, who finally has been given a pardon by President Trump. A well-deserved pardon. He was lawlessly targeted as part of a conspiracy to destroy the Trump presidency and the Trump campaign by the Obama gang. They lied about what Flynn was doing. They knew he was innocent. The documents show they knew he was innocent, yet they prosecuted him anyway and abused his civil rights. And Judge Sullivan in this case has been acting, who's the judge who's been handling the criminal case, has been abusing his power in a way that is just simply shocking, just shocking from a federal judge. Yet the Justice Department try to end the case, and Judge Sullivan is contrary to law, and orders from the appellate court just simply refused to do so. Obviously hoping that a Biden administration will come in and reverse the Justice Department decision to drop the case and further harass and try to make a political prisoner out of General Flynn. So God bless General Flynn and his family, who I know has been abused in so many ways. I mean, he was a prisoner in his own home. I mean, he couldn't travel away. Just because he wasn't in jail doesn't mean he had the freedom and civil rights any other American did. He was still subject to the jurisdiction of the court. It's like he was on probation, practically speaking. So now he's a free man. He wasn't a free man before the pardon. He was not a free man. And if I were President Trump, I'd go on a pardon tear. This is the mantra: pardons, prosecutions, and transparency. He should pardon everyone caught up in the Mueller investigation. I know the left is trying to scare him from pardoning his family and pardoning himself and giving preemptive pardons. Of course, he has the power to do that, and they don't want him to do that because they want to prosecute his family. They want to prosecute President Trump at the federal level. They are never going to stop harassing and abusing him, and he should pardon. He should pardon Manafort. I'd even pardon his corrupt lawyer, Cohen. Believe it or not, I don't think he should pardon Hillary Clinton. I don't think he should pardon Joe Biden. But he should pardon everyone who was targeted by Mueller, because those investigations were tainted. We also found out that Attorney General Barr appointed Durham as special prosecutor or special counsel in October. I think it was October 19th, 3 weeks before the election. Of course, he didn't tell anyone in America about it, at least anyone publicly. So that was withheld from the American people. Isn't it interesting how all these Justice Department decisions tend to go towards protecting the swamp, the Obama gang, and hurting President Trump? Now, I know it's not always that way, but isn't it amazing how they all tend to do that? Now, our friend Andy McCarthy has suggested that under the Justice Department regulations that Durham can't really even be a special prosecutor because special prosecutors are supposed to come from outside the Justice Department. But I guess the Attorney General can do whatever he wants, right? Now, I'm not as excited about Durham being a special prosecutor as, because I don't think it really means that much, other than it makes it harder if Joe Biden is ultimately selected president for Biden to come in and interfere with the prosecution or whatever Durham's doing. And as I keep on telling you, I don't think he's doing much. I don't think he's doing much. I've seen no evidence that there's going to be significant prosecutions of significant figures. In fact, in this interview, which Barr talked to dissed evidence about voter fraud, he suggested that the scope of Durham's inquiry has narrowed considerably to only focus on the Crossfire hurricane investigation, the opening of it. Of course, we already knew it's corrupt and full of lies because Judicial Watch already has proven it. So I don't know why he needs. It's now April of last year he was appointed. So we're now coming up on the 2-year anniversary this April of the appointment of John Durham, and we've had one prosecution, and it was a prosecution that was handed to him on a silver platter. And this guy, Mr. Kleinsmith, the FBI lawyer who messed with lied and altered documents to ensure Carter Page would get his illicit FISA warrant targeting him and Trump. He's going to be sentenced, or supposed to be sentenced, next week. I think on maybe it's next Friday, December 10th, whatever that day is. Not much is happening. So by narrowing it, you can bet that Brennan isn't going to face prosecution or anyone else of that nature. Of course, he hasn't talked to Obama. He hasn't talked to Biden. He hasn't talked to Hillary Clinton. At least there's no evidence he's talked to any of those people. None of them have gone before grand juries, right? We'd know about it if that happened. So it's a big fail. And I don't know what the president has planned. I'm sure, he's kind of in a hard situation because he thinks, I think with some justification, that he won. But the entire establishment is trying to push him out the door. So he's got to kind of plan to be there, and plus also plan to leave potentially, right? So I'm suggesting these ideas because they work whether or not he stays or goes. Appoint 3 special counsels. 1 for Joe Biden, 1 for Obamagate, 1 for election fraud. And if Barr won't do it, because Durham isn't doing it. And I don't mean special counsel by bringing in some U.S. attorney who has the loser Justice Department approach that we seem to get a lot out of. I mean, bring in an outsider and let them do an investigation of the Justice Department. Keep the FBI out of it. I mean, a serious independent special prosecutor. You can ask Barr for advice who might be a good guy, but they shouldn't answer to the Barr. They should answer to the White House. Justice Department is compromised. Oh, we have to have independent investigations. No, that's not what the Constitution says. The Justice Department, did you vote the Justice Department to run the country? I didn't. I voted for the president to run the country. I mean, Joe Biden talks about an independent Justice Department. That's unconstitutional. I mean, we have to be consistent. Even if Biden is president, we should recognize that the president has the authority to run the Justice Department. So special prosecutors galore, transparency, get all the documents out, declassify. There are other documents that have been withheld or being stonewalled that they should accelerate the release of. And as I said, all of that can be done whether or not the president is staying or going. And it should be done sooner rather than later, meaning now. If you want something right, do it yourself, right? And that's what the president needs to do. He can't rely on Attorney General Barr anymore. He just can't. And it doesn't. I keep on going back, and I guess it's irrelevant because I like a lot of people who I disagree with. Because I'm sure Barr and I would have a very friendly discussion about how things have been going, right? And I'm sure he'd be very persuasive on some points, but it's just the proof is in the pudding, and the pudding ain't there.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.